Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhang dhammang sanghang namasami. Today, I'm going to read 3 talks from The Most Precious Gift, honoring the life and work of Ajahn Sucitto. These are 3 talks by Ajahn Sucitto. I'll give the titles and the page numbers in the beginning, and then just read the 3 talks together, pausing between each. First one, Learning from the Bitter Gifts of Life, page 110. Next one, Staying Present, page 294. The last one, Mindfulness, the True Monarch, page 387. This system of offering and receiving food, of having things given, is a beautiful experience. One receives the food as an offering, and somehow, because it's offered, by that very gesture, that very attitude, it's blessed. It becomes special, sacred. This is not about desire or self. It's about the beauty of dana, of giving, of generosity. One of the most constant blessings I've experienced in my life as a monk is being the recipient of dana. By dana, I mean the generosity of giving, not the gift itself. I don't see being a monk as a life where you think, I'm going to get this, I'm going to get that. Sometimes the offerings are very humble, but when one is the recipient of a generous spirit, the generosity is not impaired by the humbleness of the gift. It's purely dependent on the attitude of giving and the attitude of allowing oneself to receive. This attitude is something to attune to, and not just regarding food. We begin our reflection around such simple things, but then we can consider the whole of this life. Did you make it? Did you create this world? We tend to think along the lines of, this is my life, I do what I like, or I've done this and that through my work. But in fact, we're given this opportunity, this birth. Did you decide to be born? Did you create a body? Did you engender consciousness? Isn't it the other way around? Who owns this life, this opportunity to be conscious, to experience, to have a human birth, to have a mind that can reflect? These are all gifts, aren't they? The sense of self is a pirate, a hijacker. It says, this is me, my life, mine, but actually all of this life is a gift, an offering. We need to extend our understanding, our humility, and our receptivity to appreciate that all the accidents, fortunes, and misfortunes are gifts offered to us as opportunities for awakening. You're offered the kind of mind you need to work with, the kind of body, the circumstances of your life. You might think, why does this happen to me? Why is my mother this way? Why? Life may not offer what you want, but suppose you see it as an experiment. What happens if you see it all as having been dealt out to you as an opportunity to develop wholesome qualities of mind, to work against this self-view, to combat the laziness, the indulgence, the obsessiveness, the self-centeredness and impatience that drag you down again and again into degeneration and despair. With this approach, you can look even at sickness, pain, and separation from the loved as opportunities for learning. Through these experiences, you can learn about the quality of wanting, asking, demanding, consuming, expecting, all that self-focus. You could say it's a hard lesson, but these gifts of Dhamma don't always come with nice wrappings around them. The process of liberation is all-embracing. The goal is sublime, supreme. So to realize it, we have to consider, reflect, and use our wisdom. Don't believe in self-view in the way it always tries to limit you. I can't, I don't, I mustn't, I don't want, I can't stand. You can always stand it. You don't want to, that's all. We don't want to bother, but we can. When you learn from the hardships and frustrations of life, when you approach them and take full responsibility for them, in the end you feel grateful. Because suddenly you realize you're not the limited self that you thought you were. You're actually much grander and larger. I think this is relevant for meditation, for spiritual practice. As you realize that all that negativity, displeasure, and dissatisfaction are coming from the frustrated self-view, you begin to have the aspiration to continue through the difficulties. You realize that it's time to encounter the difficulties and face up to them. This is what I'm given. This is the way it is. There isn't any other way. So this must be exactly the right time to learn from this experience. I'm certainly very grateful for life as I live it, with the frustrations, restrictions, and limitations of living in this monastic form. Most of it hasn't been pleasant. As a form, it has almost always been either unpleasant or neutral, tedious to irritating, but it has taught me not to indulge, not to be moody, not to bear grudges, and not to linger. It's taught me many good things, like being grateful and not being selfish, which I don't think I would have learned if I hadn't had such an unyielding teacher as the Buddha's Dhamma Vinaya. Life, with its events and its timing, is a mystery to me. Whenever I'm about to go on retreat, I think, now I can calm down, have a nice space, and sort things out. But I usually find that a few days before the retreat begins, things I have to do, think about, and worry over suddenly start coming up. I could think, why is everything always messed up my practice? It's a conspiracy. And it actually is a conspiracy. It's a conspiracy from benevolent forces who are saying, it looks like he's trying to get away again. Time to face up to this one. Indulging in escapist mentality is not going to get you very far. We have to open to the process of karma and penetrate right into it, rather than trying to wriggle around it. By doing so, we are noble and honorable. We compensate for all the things we've taken from others and from the planet. We're using the raw materials of life to produce something that will be of immense benefit, not just to ourselves, but to all beings. This world is very much in need of wise, compassionate, selfless beings. In practice, there needs to be balance between proactive applications and relaxation. The proactive applications consist of creating something or placing the mind onto an object, such as body or breathing. You can do that by lifting your attention with a thought. Where is the body now? Where's the breath now? What's breathing out like now? You deliberately bring that thought up. That's why we say it's more active. When you're walking, thought can be useful too. You could say, now I'm going to stand, and now I'm going to walk. Which part of the foot touches the ground first? You're lifting your attention onto an object so that it's not continually snagging and being dragged into unhelpful memories, thoughts, and feelings. The other main approach is relaxing, giving things space, not applying pressure, which gives a sense of clarification. As we feel ourselves tensing up or getting tangled, we consciously let things pass, let things fade, simply with an out-breath and the very attitude of relaxing, softening. For clarity, your primary means would probably be using the mind like an eye. You're watching your body, thoughts, and feelings. The watching sense provides a sense of space. You're standing beside what's going on, rather than being thrown around in it. That objectivity gives you clarity. So you're using the body to lift your attention into a supportive theme, and also to relax the pressures and energies that come up when the mind is still swinging around, looking for some ground, for something to feed on or settle in. When it's caught up in that chaotic movement, you're lifting the mind when it's dull, raising it onto something clear that it can focus on. Before walking, you can ask yourself, how does each leg move? And if you find yourself losing ground or feeling unstable, you can stop in the middle of your walking path and take the time for stabilizing, letting things rest before walking again. In times when the mind swings into emotional turbulence, our relationship with it may be benefited more by just listening, widening the listening sense. Both qualities of watching and listening have the sense of non-reaction and non-proliferation. Mindfulness curtails the proliferation, the creation of more mental stuff. And if you keep practicing in that way, things will calm down, and those qualities of watching and listening will be your fundamental modes. When you're on a retreat, you have alternating periods of sitting and walking. So look out for the sense of going into automatic, which is another way in which the mind starts to structure experience. You want to treat the beginning of every period as if it's the first time. When you have this feeling of, here we go again, another one of these. When you've gone into automatic mode because it's never another one. It's always just this one. And that's where the touching sense is important, because that's always very specific. The feeling of the body at this particular time is quite specific. And you're sensing it, feeling it. You can stand and feel what it's like to have a body, widening your attention over the whole bodily form. How is that? Is there someone separate from this? Who is that? Is it possible to relax that sense of separateness, which is bound up with what I will be, what I could be, where I was, and just be a body standing in the coolness of the air? Let yourself feel it. That helps us to undo these strong mental programs of time, identity, specific moods and feelings. We're using mindfulness in the body to come out of these mental habits, clearing them. And in those moments of clearing, when there's greater clarity, settledness, and spaciousness, when you don't feel the turbulence and entanglement, ask yourself, what's always here? As the dream finishes, what's always here? We call it pure knowing or direct knowing. This sense of awareness with no specific object, strategy, destination, or identity. It's just this. Then perhaps the mind starts to cloud over again. Practice is rather like that. It's a very personal and individual process. That's why the emphasis is on relationships, learning how to relate, how to be with yourself. Mindfulness is sometimes likened to a monarch. This monarch is surveying, supervising, impartial, aware, connected. They're not pulling, not struggling, not trying to hold things, not arrogant. It's the true monarch. the true king or queen. The false monarchs are the inner tyrant who keeps bullying you, and the braggart who becomes cocksure when they get a little bit of something good. Mindfulness doesn't want anything. It isn't interested in owning anything. It doesn't need that. It's a benevolent quality that is blessing everything. Mindfulness is established with equanimity as its tone. It's even. It's like a hand on the shaft of an umbrella, holding a safe and steady space in which all dhammas can be encompassed, settle down, firm up, or dissolve. This abiding in mindfulness sits in its confidence. When we come to sitting, walking, or standing practice, or in any other postures, we should have that sense of a carriage that has a quality of dignity, safety, and assurance. It doesn't really matter what it looks like. What matters is what it feels like internally. Is there anything constricted or withdrawn? Can we open to that? Opening requires both a really good connection to the ground, the earth element, the sense of being grounded, and a clear and consciously acknowledged sense of benevolence around us. When we're in a hostile, insecure, or frantic environment, when people are quarreling or fighting, we pick that up, and that affects how we feel. Now that you are in a harmonious environment, acknowledge it and sense how you feel. Most of us don't know that feeling because the world doesn't provide many harmonious situations. So you have to generate it. Whatever the world is doing, you're living in your harmonious environment. There's a boundary. Let no harm come here. The wise monarch has that authority. Feel the front of your body, the back, the face, the throat, and so forth. Get a sense of that. You stay focused internally and don't go somewhere else. The experience of the body can change into something quite bright and clear. The assured monarch has no need to run after or catch anything, no need to become anything. They know their place. When you sit as if in your own court, other things can come, such as the body and the breathing. Mind states can arise, but you're not rushing after them. If they try to push you, come back to that center in your body, into your confidence. It's an embodied wisdom center. Everything else is just weather passing over. The practice of sustaining that center is to bear in mind that this image of the true monarch is not a personal identity. If you move off the throne, you're no longer it. It's as immediate as that. If you start chasing something or running away from things, you've lost your seat. All those forces and energies that wash over and rush against you are the host of Mara. You don't have to take issue with them. They're working themselves out. In a way, you simply hold a blessing attitude and let whatever is there find its way. When confused, fearful, angry, or doubting energies come up, let them find their own way. Let them go. Let them pass. Let them be in peace. You don't fight with anything. You don't fear anything. As long as you hold that seat, you can maintain authority. If you move off it, you lose it. It's very important to know that seat. This is the place of resolution, where the Buddha sat under the Bodhi tree. It's not something you can feel as a sensation. It's where sensations stop, but it's awake. It's something like a silence or a stillness. There's no particular feeling. There's a sense of inner space which is not spacey. It's aware of the delightful, the esoteric, the refined and the coarse alike as change. And it's giving a kind of blessing to them, letting them be the way they are. If you feel you can't maintain that balance within yourself, then use one of your primary supports. It could be sensing the upright structure of your body, or setting your heart straight with loving kindness. What's your strong force? What's your strongest meditation ally? Use that to take the rest on. When you're cultivating the sitting position, really inhabit your body, either its physicality, the sensations, the textures, or its energies, which are often associated with emotional traces. If you're looking for steadiness, you need to step back from the energies of the body. Instead, go towards the simple sensations like the pressure of your body sitting on the ground, the quality of the spine, or the skeletal structure. You can also return to the ground of goodwill, kindness, or compassion towards yourself or towards others, or to the ground of faith in the Buddha, using an image or the recollection of his qualities. You use your allies so that your heart can easily find a stable place. In a retreat situation, we're holding a special space, a rare place, so we need to hold it very carefully. You may feel quite happy and comfortable. It doesn't mean everyone else is happy and comfortable. You may feel relaxed and at ease. It doesn't mean everyone is relaxed and at ease, so be sensitive to the needs of others. One thing we're really encouraging is the quality of silence. Deep silence. Not a silence of disregard, but a silence of respect. Sound carries such emotional tones for us, and strangely enough, even benevolent sounds in a sensitive state can feel intrusive. And as we all know, we can become quite sensitive in these retreat situations. It really is our responsibility to make an effort to be restrained and to hold an attitude of respect of each other's consciousness. And it's helpful when we can acknowledge that for everyone. One small note for people interested, the first talk was given at Amaravati on the Death and Dying Retreat, October 19th through the 21st, 1990. And this was not long before Ajahn Sucitto left for his 6-month India pilgrimage with Nick Scott. Before taking Abbott, I believe, Chithurst. Maybe not, I'm not sure about that. It was before? Okay. The second one was given November 22nd, 2014, so about 20 years later, at a Amaravati retreat again, about 1 month before stepping down as abbot of Chithurst. And the last one was given on the afternoon of November 22nd, 2014, just 5 days after so part of the same retreat.